Two individuals with very different styles, likes and dislikes, can work together effectively and love each other passionately. I'm Life Coach Spencer. Welcome to my channel. This is a channel about life at work and life at home. Now, I hope my videos will give you some insights or remind you of something. But remember, it's not insights nor reminder that will change your life. Putting them into action will. All right, let's get started. In this marriage and relationship series, we first talked about communication, how we can listen well and express ourselves well so that we can understand each other. Then we talked about conflict resolution, how we can deal with conflict constructively. Please click on the link to these previous videos in the description below. Today we will talk about personality and how it affects relationships. When we talked about personality, it can sometimes be very subjective. So in my practice, I usually use some objective tools as a starting point. There are two tools I usually use. The first one is Big Five personality traits, which are often used for coaching in romantic relationships, describing personality in 5 factors. I'll spend more time talking about them later. The second tool I use is Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or MBTI, which are often used in work environment, describing personality in 4 dichotomies. Now, the first 4 factors in the Big Five fit quite nicely with the 4 dichotomies of the MBTI. So let's talk about these 4. First of all, extroverts are often seen as full of energy, outgoing, talkative, enthusiastic. They are characterized by the breadth rather than the depth of activities and relationships. So they get energy from external means too. Some may misunderstand them as being dominant, showy, shallow, and not listening. Now, introverts are often seen as reserved, quiet, and low-key. They are characterized by the depth rather than the breadth of their activities and relationships, and they get their energy from internal means. Some may misunderstand them as being shy, antisocial, or unfriendly. Now, dependable people seek fulfillment through perseverance. They are seen as pragmatic and data-driven, and not interested in abstract theories and imagination. They are sometimes, however, misunderstood as dogmatic, close-minded, and resistant to change. People who are open to change often seek fulfillment in new experiences. They are seen as creative, adventurous, full of curiosity, and unconventional. But they are sometimes misunderstood as being unpredictable, lack of focus, and risky. Now, agreeable people tend to get along with others better, appear to be more considerate, kind, generous, and more willing to compromise. They usually have a more optimistic view of humanity. Now, sometimes others may misunderstand them as being too soft, too people-pleasing, and not reasonable. Now, competitive people tend to focus on tasks rather than people. They have this drive to win, sometimes at the expense of others. So they are sometimes misunderstood as being manipulative, nasty, and uncaring. Conscientious people often are self-disciplined, organized, and dutiful. They know how to control their own impulse, but sometimes they are misunderstood as being rigid, stubborn, and inflexible. Easygoing people often are more flexible and spontaneous. They are sometimes misunderstood as unreliable and sloppy. Now, all these personality traits have their advantages and disadvantages. There's no single perfect personality that everyone should learn from. After understanding their personality and that of others, first of all, learn to accept other people's personality, especially those traits that are different from yours. How do you know? When you have accepted the other person, you will stop trying to change that person. Maybe your spouse or your colleague is driving you crazy by his or her way of dealing with certain things. For example, a husband may be mad at his wife for being late. When the husband demanded his wife to change, he was telling her that he did not accept her as who she really was because she considered getting the dinner ready for her children before going out as an important priority for her as a mother. She was proud of being a responsible mother, but her husband rejected her effort and her as a person with slightly different priorities. So don't try to change the other person. It will never work anyway, and it will put stress in the relationship. Learn to accept the other person. Second, learn to appreciate the strength in yourself and in the other person. Each of you has something to contribute to the relationship. Each of you are created special and unique. Celebrate the strength that comes with the uniqueness in you and in the other person. Now, each of you is slightly different. So how do you transform the differences between you into strength in your relationships? For example, my wife and I, we are very different in our personalities. She helps me to see the world from a completely different perspective. She helps me to understand others in a totally new way. When we do coaching sessions together for couples or groups, she often sees things I fail to notice. How can you benefit from the differences in personalities? Now, lots of problems in relationships are related to unmet expectation. In our next video, we will talk about expectations in relationships. If you like what you have watched, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you want to get help in putting what you have watched into action, talk to an ICF certified coach, or you can find out more about me and my online coaching services at lifecoachspencer.com. See you next time.